Hi, I'm Chris Frankel, Head of Human Performance here at TRX. I'm an exercise physiologist and I have over 30 years experience as a strength and conditioning coach and personal trainer. My role here is to make sure we bring you solid science and best practices built around our gear, education, and programming. After watching this video, you'll be able to set up the TRX suspension trainer at the correct height, properly perform the 6 basic procedures, adjust intensity of exercises by modifying resistance and stability, perform and coach a variety of TRX upper body, lower body, and core-specific exercises and progressions. Born in the Navy SEAL teams, TRX has since made its way into pro sports, major gyms, and every branch of the U.S. military. Used by the top trainers in the industry, TRX keeps you at the top of your game. TRX is a training company. We produce the best-in-class training equipment, programs, and education courses to help you and your clients reach peak performance, reach your goals, and get the results you want. We are about movement and movement with purpose. There's an objective, intent, and goal with everything we do. Our goal is to make you and your clients more mobile, strong, and powerful by establishing and reinforcing movement standards and challenging your physical ability under changing conditions. Suspension training is a collection of unique bodyweight exercise movements, coaching cues, and programming principles pioneered by TRX. These movements are distinguished from traditional exercises in that either the user's hands or feet are generally supported by a single anchor point while the opposite end of the body is in contact with the ground. The suspension trainer's single attachment point provides the ideal mix of support and freedom of movement to train strength, endurance, balance, coordination, flexibility, power, and core stability all at once and across a wide range of intensity. With TRX suspension training, you and your clients can quickly find the perfect level of progression and effort for every workout, every set, and every rep. To set up the TRX suspension trainer correctly, you will need to know the anatomy. Let's review the components: foot cradles, rubber handles, barrel lock adjusters, adjustment tabs, locking loop, equalizer loop, locking carabiner, suspension anchor, anchor carabiner. As part of your kit, you will also have a TRX extender and a door anchor. Now that you know the components, let's discuss the different options for anchoring. To set up the TRX suspension trainer, find an anchor point that is 7 to 9 feet high. When properly anchored, the equalizer loop will be 6 feet off the ground. And with the suspension trainer fully lengthened, the foot cradles will be about 3 inches off the ground. The horizontal anchoring configuration is a great option for pull-up bars, tree branches, fences, and squat racks. To securely tighten the suspension anchor, wrap it several times around the anchor point. Clip the carabiner into the appropriate intermediate anchor loop so the equalizer loop hangs 6 feet above the ground. A vertical anchor point is a great option when a horizontal anchor point is not available. Examples of vertical anchor points are lamp posts and poles. Wrap the suspension anchor several times around the attachment point, wrapping under, then over to securely cinch. Clip carabiner over the suspension anchor and cinch to secure. Use the extender in place of the suspension anchor when you want to keep your suspension trainer secure using the locking carabiner, such as in a club or outdoor boot camp setting. Wrap the TRX extender around a sturdy horizontal overhead anchor point that's about 7 feet high. Pass the TRX extender's long anchoring loop through its short loop. Then pull on the long loop to cinch the TRX extender against the anchor point. Clip the unlocked carabiner through the extender's long loop, then tighten the locking bolt with the included wrench until the carabiner gate is secure. Take care not to over-tighten the locking bolt. To make the setup even more secure, or to accommodate slightly lower anchor points, you can use the double wrap method. Wrap the TRX extender twice around a horizontal overhead anchor point. Loop the locking carabiner through both ends of the TRX extender. Tighten the locking bolt with the provided wrench until the carabiner gate is secure, taking care not to over-tighten the locking bolt. For vertical anchor points using the extender, wrap the TRX extender around a sturdy vertical anchor point. Pass the TRX extender's long anchoring loop through its short loop. Pull on the long end to cinch the TRX extender. Attach the TRX suspension trainer's locking carabiner to the long anchoring loop of the TRX extender. Tighten the locking bolt until the carabiner gate is secure with the wrench provided, taking care not to over-tighten the locking bolt. The TRX door anchor is the perfect solution for training your clients in their home. The TRX door anchor can only be used on solidly constructed doors that support the user's weight. To prevent the door from opening accidentally during the training session, it is best to use a door that opens away from you. For standard height doors, remove the yellow suspension anchor and clip the locking carabiner into the door anchor loop. Hang the Workout in Progress placard on the other side of the door. Next, securely place the door anchor pillow over the door. Close the door and lock the door if possible. When using a door that opens towards you, place the door anchor over the hinge side of the door. To set your clients up for success on the suspension trainer, you'll want to teach them 6 body positions. These provide the foundation for effective cueing. There are 3 standing body positions: stand facing the anchor point, stand facing away from the anchor point, and standing sideways to the anchor point. There are 3 ground-based body positions: ground facing the anchor point, ground facing away from the anchor point, and ground sideways to the anchor point. Teaching your clients to master some basic procedures on the suspension trainer will help contribute to the success of every training session. Make sure you demonstrate and explain each procedure to new members and clients. To shorten the suspension trainer, grab one strap, tilt the barrel lock towards you to unlock strap, pull yellow adjustment tab. To lengthen the suspension trainer, grab both straps and tilt each barrel lock towards you to unlock the straps. Pull down on both barrel locks. For some exercises, such as unilateral or rotational movements, which is a unique feature of TRX suspension training, you will only need to use one handle. The locking loop on the Pro suspension trainer provides a built-in slip guard to provide feedback and boundaries to range of motion. The locking loop also enables you to quickly perform single handle exercises by letting go of one handle and pulling on the other handle until the locking loop reaches its limit of movement. Or you can configure the Pro suspension trainer into single handle mode in the following way. Hold one handle on top of the other, pass the bottom handle through the triangle-shaped webbing of the top handle, repeat by passing the bottom handle again through the triangle-shaped webbing of the top handle, pull the top handle towards you to lock. When properly configured, the handle should look like this. Always perform a test load before beginning any exercise. For ground exercises, adjust the TRX straps so that the bottom of the foot cradles are at mid-calf level or about 8 to 12 inches off the ground. To get your heels into the foot cradles, sit facing the suspension trainer and hold each foot cradle with your index finger. Roll backward, bringing your knees towards your chest, and simultaneously place both heels into foot cradles. Press down into heels and extend legs. To place your toes in the foot cradles, sit facing the suspension trainer and hold each foot cradle with your index finger. Roll backwards, bringing your knees towards your chest, and simultaneously place both foot cradles over the tops of your feet. Keep feet pulled towards you and roll onto hands and knees, allowing feet to rotate inside the foot cradles. Applying even pressure through the suspension trainer prevents sawing and also ensures proper core engagement. The suspension trainer is not designed as a pulley and should not be used to perform sawing exercises. Sawing motions will cause premature wear of the suspension trainer, so make sure to keep even pressure on both handles or foot cradles at all times. The offset foot position allows you to maintain even tension throughout the full range of motion and unload an upper body movement into the lower body to ensure that proper training technique and load can be used on every repetition. This works really well for beginners during all upper body exercises and during the performance of exercises for the shoulders, such as the TRX Y fly. All TRX exercises can be adjusted to meet the needs of your clients or athletes using the TRX principles of progression. The first is the vector resistance principle, which determines the level of resistance based on your body weight and working angle. Change your body angle by taking a step forward or backward to modify resistance. The second is the stability principle. Stability is a function of the relationship between your center of gravity and your base of support. Stability is maximized with a large base of support and the center of gravity positioned within that base. As the base of support decreases, or the center of gravity moves outside the base, stability decreases and the intensity of the exercise increases. Using the example of a TRX chest press, decreasing your base of support challenges your stability and requires more core engagement. Starting in an offset stance is going to provide the most stable position, and you can continue to increase the intensity by moving to narrow positions, from offset to a wide stance, from wide stance to a narrow stance, and eventually to a single leg stance. The third principle is the pendulum principle, which determines the resistance of an exercise for most ground-based moves by your foot placement relative to the anchor point. You can assist or resist an exercise by changing the starting position relative to the neutral position. Moving your starting point to the far side of neutral with your head and feet on opposite sides of the anchor point makes the exercise easier to perform with less resistance. Moving your starting position to the near side of neutral with your head and feet on the same side makes the exercise harder to perform with increased resistance. Before using TRX suspension training with your clients, you're going to want to make sure you can perform all the movements. Not only will it be good for demonstration purposes, but it'll help your cueing with them as well. So take some time, review the basic positions and procedures, and throughout the workout, take time to teach your clients how to earn their progressions. Make sure early on they really focus on technique before moving on to more advanced progressions, either with stability or resistance. We're going to start off with our plank series. And today I have Steve and Tanitra helping me out. They're both course instructors. Their form is already really good, but we're also going to show you some cueing that'll help you get the most out of all your TRX suspension training. So for the plank, you're always going to have the suspension trainer adjust to mid-calf height. You're going to go toes in, and you'll be ground facing away from the anchor point. We're going to start off with just what we call our basic plank, but sometimes it's anything but basic. The rest position for the plank series is going to be knees and hands or knees and forearms. The idea is you get to keep that spine pretty much in a neutral position. We don't have to do a lot of flexion extension. So now bring yourselves up into a nice strong plank. Drive those feet away from you. Try and drive those heels away from you. Keep everything nice and tight. We're going to start over here on Tanitra. Just a tiny bit of hip flexion. Yeah, there you go. We want to straighten it out and keep everything nice and tight, 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 tight. There we go. Push those heels away. And now come down and give it a quick rest. Knees come down. Touch, deep breath in. Exhale, bring yourself back up. I'm pretty sure Steve went down before I said take a rest, but that's okay. Drive those heels away. So one thing you want to make sure those hands stay nice and flat, looking straight down in there. Steve, give those hips up just a touch, and now tighten everything up. Good. Steve's is okay. Tanitra's making them look bad, but we want to every time have this feel. Every time you exhale, you want to feel like you're tightening it up a little bit more. Deep breath in, exhale, tighten it up, bend those knees, come down. We're going to give you one more rest. We're going to come up one more time. Once you know what that feels like to have a nice strong plank, you want to just push those feet back again and come up and hit that same position. Bring it up. Think heels back and away. Good. Hips extended. Drive those heels away as far as you can. Feel like you're pulling your shoulders down away from your ears. Give me a couple of deep breaths in. Exhale. Nice. Ears are shaking. Everyone's pulling an Elvis. Steve, steady it out. Knees down and relax. Nice. So it looks like a nice basic move. You're going to get out of it what you put into it. So bring yourself up, get them in good alignment, ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles, and then make sure they're really turning everything on. So once they've got a plank down pretty solid, we're going to take that standard and we're going to turn it into a moving plank. We're going to call it a body saw. So now everybody's going to go to forearms. Tanitra's going to walk herself back. That might be a little bit too much. Walk yourself forward a little bit. Come up and give me a quick test. Come up and hit your plank. Good. So I'm going to have you walk forward just a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more. Good, right there. So now both of you come up, hit that plank nice and strong. Just hold it for a second. Same standard of a plank. Tight, 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 tight. Dude, seriously, tight. There we go. Tighten everything up. Now body saw, I want you to start to push your head back away from your hands. Just rock yourself back and forward. And you notice Steve is going through a full range of motion, going down as far as he can without breaking his plank and coming up. Tanitra is taking advantage of having the wall behind her, so now we can restrict her range of motion, having her come back just as far with that solid plank. Good. So she gets a little feedback and moves forward again. When you first start using this with your clients, standing behind their feet or having a medicine ball back there so they know not to go too far back and maintain that plank is what you want to do. Great. Bring yourself down, bend your knees. Nice. You guys sweating a little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so take those sweaty faces, turn them away from me, and we're going to do some side planks. So Steve, you're going to be on your right side. Tanitra, you're going to be on your left side. So when we go into the side plank position, you're always going to have your top leg in front of your bottom leg. And you like to start with that toe of the bottom foot driving into the heel of the top foot. Gives you a little bit more stability. So ready, come up and stick it nice and solid. Extend those hips through. You want to get a straight line going from nose, chin, sternum, right down zipper line. Nice. And you want to make sure those hips are extended. Push those hips away from you just a little bit so you feel like you're in a straight line. Every time you exhale, squeeze it a little bit tighter. and bring yourself down. Now to roll to the other side, I want you to go to stomach first. So you're back in that prone position, roll on to the opposite side, top leg in front, bottom leg behind. You notice Steve is up on his hands, center of gravity higher from base support, going to be tougher. Tanitra is down on her forearm, which means we're going to make sure that forearm is locked in nice and tight. Bring yourself up, reach that hand to the sky if you need to, extend those hips, squeeze those glutes. Now look for that stack. You want this hand on top of this shoulder, on top of that other shoulder, on top of the hand. Same thing in the hips. Every time you exhale, tighten it up a little bit more. Same thing here, hand stacked on top of shoulder, on top of other shoulder. I want you to push this hip back away from me just a little bit. Push it back that way a little bit. Now extend those hips a little bit more. So hips are stacked, shoulders are stacked. I'm going to talk a little bit slower so you can get a couple more seconds in here and come down nice and controlled. Great, so we started with the plank, went to a body saw, went to a side plank. How do you guys feel?
Great.
Great, plank series to start things off. All right, for the pull series, I still consider TRX being the best pulling piece of equipment out on the market. We're going to start off with just a simple low row. We want to start with suspension trainer fully shortened. I want you to stand facing the anchor point, grab both handles. Steve's going to take a little bit more aggressive vector resistance. No, seriously, you can take more aggressive vector resistance. You're just picking your feet up and putting them down. They got to walk in a little bit. There we go. And we're on a non-slip floor here, so you can bring those toes up off the ground. Tanitra, yeah, come on, a little bit. Yeah, there we go, good. I want you to start at the top here, boom. Start locked in here, yeah, hands by the chest. Everything's lit up here. Once again, nice strong plank. Start taking yourself through some rows. At that bottom, just try and get those, try and get those shoulder blades down and back before you start pulling. Make sure that back is doing most of the work before the arms kick in. Good, do about 3 more reps. We're integrating this entire posterior chain, shoulders down through the core into the hips. So Steve, you get me a little bit of anterior tilt. Tuck that, yeah, flatten out that belt line. Good, there we go, good. So just one thing starts working right, you gotta start working on the other things. Good, nice and strong. So as a coach, you're looking ears, shoulders, hips, knees, ankles. This becomes a moving plank. Give me 1 more rep. Come up, hold at the top, and relax. Now, the great thing about this, you can adjust intensity on the fly. So if this was a longer set, you could walk in if you weren't aggressive enough to begin with, or you can walk out as you start to get fatigued. So let's go from a bilateral row to a single arm row. So let's go ahead and put it into single handle mode. And we are going to grab with our left arm first. Whole idea here is you want this row to look exactly like the 2-arm row. We want to resist rotation for this. So what we're going to do is we're just going to have you mirror the hand without a handle in it. You're just going to mirror that other handle. So Steve, once again, you're going to take a little bit more aggressive. Good. So give me a nice strong plank. All right. Come in a little bit more. Nice. All right, here we go. So now everything's nice and tight. Down all the way. Let that arm straighten out. Good. So now you can tell here, keep going through. You can tell here that we're not getting any rotation. We're going to resist rotation with that row because at that bottom, those hands are nice and even. So Steve, I caught you over here. Go back down. Good. Yeah. Push it up. Yeah. Now bring it together. Nice. Nice and strong. Steve's looking good. So at the top here, I want you to take a little step in. Make it a little bit tougher. Good. That was the smallest little step ever, but nice. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Just that little bit of change in vector really changes the rotation on there. Relax just for a second. Let's switch it up. Go to the other hand just real quick. Give me a couple of reps here. I just don't want you to be unbalanced. Lock it in. Steve, get a little bit more aggressive. Find that plank first. Plank's engaged, and now knock out a couple of reps there. Great. Nice. Still initiating with that shoulder coming down and back, resisting rotation all the way through the body. Good. And relax. That single arm low row, great exercise, resisting rotation, integrating that entire posterior chain. Next move we want to do in this pull series is our Y fly. People look at this move and think it's a shoulder exercise, there's shoulder involved, but we're really going to cue it up like a pull. So you first want to take it out of single handle mode, put it back in the double handle mode, adjust it to mid-length. And with all our shoulder series exercises, you always want to find that end range first. Nice. So find that end range here. Good. Now they both just dropped right into that offset foot position. And now go ahead and drop yourself down. Moving plank down, hold that bottom position just for a second, and bring yourself up and flow through it. You're going to know Steve at the top is giving an iso hold. Tanitra is just going to go right through cadence. No pause at the top. Good. So at that top position, Tanitra is kind of rolling through it. Steve is going to feel like he's trying to pull that anchor point out the whole time. This top position should feel like the toughest position. Just 1 or 2 more reps. Little pause at the top. You're just flowing through. And now that you got this fly pattern, relax just for a second. We're going to take this Y fly, and we're going to just turn it into a split fly. So you're going to start with hands the same way. One arm goes high, the other arm goes low. Once again, we're back to this idea of trying to resist rotation. So let's start with, still give me this top position of a Y fly. Good. So that knows your end range. Let yourself drop back. And now one hand goes high, the other hand goes low. Boom, nice. Now don't let that low arm start to bend at the elbows. Try and keep those elbows extended the whole time. Shoulders are down and back, nice. Steve was once again coming up to the top. Little iso hold at the top. Tanitra's flowing through everything nice and easy. Don't let that elbow bend. Nice. Steve is looking pretty strong over here, so he might need just a little help to make it work a little bit more. Come up. He's got to resist at the top, breathe, 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 and down under control. Nice. Give me one more rep each side. Split fly, one arm high, one arm low, moving plank, good, and relax. All right, so the last one in our pulling series is going to be bicep work. So Steve's going to go single handle mode. He's going to do single arm bicep curl. He's going to start standing facing sideways. Tanitra's doing both arms at the same time, bilateral curl, so he's going to stand facing. So everybody starts in a contracted position, find that plank nice and easy, and now take it away. Notice Tanitra still keeps it as a moving plank. Elbows stay high the whole time. Don't let those elbows drop. Come up, hold that top position, boom. So imagine doing a preacher curl, but now there's no pad there. You're just almost resting on your lats. And Steve is still performing this as a moving plank, but he's really doing it as a moving side plank. Great, Steve, let's go ahead and flip it around and give me a couple of reps on the other side. Tanitra, you got to work while he does that. So as you start to fatigue, remember, you can also take advantage of vector resistance. You can walk away a little bit. You don't need to. All right, that's good. Whatever works, good. Shoulders stay down and back. Still treat this as a pulling exercise. Way to finish up the pulling series. We did rows, we did some flies, we finished up with some bicep curls, all integrating the entire body. Nice job, guys.
Thanks.
For the push series, we're going to start with the chest press. So go ahead and lengthen it out to fully lengthened. Stand facing away from the anchor point. Steve's going to take a nice deep angle. Tanitra's going to start at a little bit more shallow angle. You're also going to notice that Tanitra has her feet together for narrow base support, a little bit more stability required. Steve's going to have a wider base support here. So even before we start moving, we're looking for that plank again. Shoulders pulled down and back. Core turned on, squeeze those glutes, and now start taking yourself through some chest presses. One thing you want to be aware of is both elbow position and rubbing from the chest press. So the closer you can bring your elbows to your side, good, that's fine. And you'll notice that both of them are able to keep the straps off their arm the entire time. We don't want to see scraping. If sometimes you have that strap rubbing against your arm, one or two things you can do is take your hands a little bit higher to the ceiling, or just turn that thumb up just a little bit to always be able to create space as we work through here. Great. Chest press turns into a moving plank, high tension, everything's working the entire time. So now we're going to go from a nice stable base, and we're going to pick one foot up off the ground. We're going to go into a knee up, toe up position. Good. All the way up, nice. And now a little bit higher. Give me that knee up just a touch higher, knee up a touch higher, toe up to the ceiling as well. Boom. Now start taking yourself through there as well. Let's make sure we don't have any wrists here. Nice. Nice straight line going from that pinky to that wrist to that elbow. And now we've taken that base support down even more. They're having to fight rotation. Drop that foot, pick up the other foot. This is a great way to see if your clients have some type of asymmetry from side to side. Knee up, toe up. Straps are still off the arms. We talk about this being bottom-up instability. We've given them a small base of support, and now they're trying to manage their center of gravity around that base support. Bring that foot down and relax. So without really changing vector, we've changed the intensity of the exercise just by changing the base support. Now from bottom-up instability, we're going to move to top-down instability with the clock press. So go ahead and get yourself set. Steve, you're going to see, is going to be in an offset foot position here, so he can give himself a little bit of self-spot. Give me a nice strong plank. Let's get rid of those wrists. Boom, rock them out, good. So now we're going to keep that left arm going into a press, that right arm going into a fly. Take yourself down into it. Nice. Now you have just enough stability coming from the suspension anchor up here that you can drive some serious force into this move, but you're also going to get some feedback if you're not able to maintain that stability. So that one arm reaching out wide is trying to force you into rotation. So now we give you another way to resist rotation through this top-down instability through the clock press. Nice, and relax. All right, last one in our push series. Let's go to a tricep press. Same thing, always starts out the same way. You're stand facing away from the anchor point, lock in that core first. Tanitra's got herself in this offset foot position. Steve have his feet together. Let's go ahead and knock out some tricep presses. You're almost looking at these as skull crushers. No wrists. Let those knuckles come back towards your forehead. Nice. And you're trying to keep that same angle of your arm to your torso working the entire time. Tanitra can self-spot herself with this leg out here. Steve's base support is far behind his center of gravity, so this whole time he's doing a tricep press, he's still getting great core work. So we started off with a chest press, got that locked in, did some bottom-up instability, some top-down instability, finished up with a tricep press that turned into full body. Great job. For the TRX hinge series, the focus here is maintaining a nice stable plank and getting mobility from the hips. First move we're going to do is the hip press. Once again, we're going to adjust it to the foot cradles or at mid-calf length, and you're going to start out ground facing the anchor point. So you're going to drop heels in, and you want to position yourself so with your feet directly underneath the anchor point, you're going to slide in so we got a 90-degree flex at the hip and a 90-degree flex at the knees. Bring yourself in, bring yourself in, bring yourself in. This is right underneath the anchor point. Good. You almost want to look like you were sitting in a chair that fell backwards. Good. So for the hip press, the whole idea is once again to start with a stable core, so tighten up that plank. You're going to keep your toes pulled towards your knees the entire time and bring yourself up into the top of that hip press and back down. Good. So now that we set the standard, we're going to have Tanitra take it up a little bit, and we're going to start up, bring yourself down. Everyone relax. Everybody calm those hips down a little bit. There we go. So Tanitra, let's go hands up. So we're going to take away some of her base of support, so it's going to be a little bit more challenging for her core here. So let's do about 4 or 5 reps. Come up, hold the top position just for a second. Up, hold, come up high enough so you get a nice straight line from knees, hips, shoulders, and back down. Every time you come to the bottom, recheck to make sure those knees are right on top of those hips, and come up. Steve, let's get a little separation between the knees. Nice. And down. And now take about 3 or 4 more reps on your own. Squeeze, come up, little pause at the top, down under control. Keep pressure pushing down into those foot cradles. Pull those toes towards your knees the whole time. Good, and down. Now give me a little bit more dorsiflexion here. Pull those toes towards your knee. Yeah. Now keep that the whole time. Nice. Up. Down under control. Good. Trying to work that hinge, getting movement at the hips with stability in the core and working hamstrings and glutes. Great. So now that we got that set, I want you to position yourself in such a way that Tanitra, straighten out your legs straight. So now we got your feet behind the anchor point. We're going to take advantage of the pendulum principle. Head and feet are on opposite sides. Steve, yeah, you don't get this one. Slide yourself out a little bit. So for this hamstring curl, that's pretty aggressive. We'll see how it starts. Leave it there. Leave it there. We'll see how this goes. For the hamstring curl, we're going to take advantage of everybody bring themselves up, hold that plank position. So now wherever your hips are right now, they're not allowed to come up, they're not allowed to go down. And give me a little bit of a hamstring move here. Heels come in towards the butt, and then back out. Oh, don't let those hips go up. So now those hips got to stay right there. Now give me flexion at the hips and flexion at the knee. Nice. So core stability with hamstring work. Tanitra's working a little bit downhill. Steve got aggressive, and now we're going to pay for it a little bit. Good. Give me a couple more reps. Nice. Nice, smooth, and controlled. Once you got the strong focus movement, hips are staying the same level off the ground. Now add just a little bit of tempo, a little faster, in and out. Don't let those hips come up. Core stay stable, hips stay locked in. Nice. Good, good strong breathing. Give me a couple more reps. Steve, let's let those knees come apart so you have a nice line. Good, but let those feet come back in. Let's get a nice line, toes, knees, hips. There we go. Give me a couple more reps. Steve's messing it up for everybody. Here we go, one more rep. Come down and relax. So we went hip press, fire up glutes, went hamstring curl, a little bit of core, a little bit of glutes, a little bit of hamstrings. We're going to take that hinge to standing position now. So for the overhead back extension, we're going to adjust it to mid-length. You're going to stand facing the anchor point. And now we're going to integrate that hinge movement throughout the entire body. So no longer a ground-based movement, it's going to be a standing movement. So let's find the end range of that overhead back extension. Let's give me hands up, good. No wrists here. I want tension on here. Feel like you're trying to pull it out of the anchor point. Nice. Now drop back to the bottom of this move here. So you're going to hinge at the hip, try and keep a nice straight back. Now Steve's progression is his hands aren't going to move. Tanitra's going to come all the way up into an overhead back extension. Steve, come up. Hold that top position, good. And now keep repeating that movement right there. So we're still looking for that hinge at the hips. Steve is just using this standing hip extension. Tanitra has integrated what's going on in the shoulders, the core, the hips, all the way down. Drop it back. Feel a nice little stretch in the hamstrings coming across the back. come up, stick that top position one more time, feel like you're trying to pull out the anchor point, and relax. Hinge series from the ground to standing, strong core, mobile hips, getting that posterior chain, knocking out that workout. For the squat, we can use this movement not only for strengthening, but also for some mobility and checking movement patterns. So first thing you can do is you're going to have it adjusted at mid-length, which we already are. So stand facing the anchor point, elbows bent right underneath shoulders. Nice, strong standing plank. Now let yourself lean back so arms go straight. And now without being too concerned about form, you can have your toes turned out just a touch, feet stay flat. Let your hips drop all the way to the floor. You can let your back round if you want. Good, so you're sitting back. Walk yourself in both of you enough so that you can actually feel your hips on the floor, so you're sitting on the floor. Good, nice and relaxed there. So now the first thing you're going to notice, you have a little bit of rounding in your spine, and you don't have much bend in your ankle, or not much dorsiflexion here. So without letting your hips come too far up off the ground, arms staying straight, just extend your spine. Give me a nice straight spine. Get a nice tall spine. Those hips are going to come up off the ground just a touch. Good. Now let yourself go from the straight arm position, pull yourself into a bicep curl position and rock forward. So you're now in a good bottom of a squat position. Good. So you rocked into some ankle movement there. And now just kind of stomp around on the bottom. Find a nice, comfortable bottom of your squat position. Toes can be slightly turned out. Feel like you're pushing your knees away from you a little bit. Now from this bicep curl position, Steve, I want you to bring your elbows in. In. Good. I want you to go from this bicep curl position, and as you stand up, turn it into a tricep press so you're spotting yourself up. Bring yourself up. Good. So now you've squatted with less than your body weight. Come back to the elbows bent underneath the shoulders. Let yourself lean back, nice and easy. Drop the hips down. Lengthen that spine. Pull yourself forward into that bicep curl position. Good. Stomp around if you need to. Heels got to be flat. Heels down. Feel yourself opening up those inner thighs. Torso nice and tall. Chin up. Good. Go from bicep curl to tricep press. Nice. And now that you got this nice top position, go from that tricep press, just squat back down into that bicep curl and pattern them out a few times. Good. So this is a good way to get some mobility. Check the movement pattern of your client on that squat position. Nice and relaxed. Great. So we went bottom up squat for some mobility. We went regular squat to check that movement pattern. Now we're going to go single leg squat. Going to start the same way. Stand facing the anchor point, elbows bent, right underneath shoulders. Walk back so you have a little bit of tension on here. Good. All right, for our single leg squat, let's make the right leg the working leg. Steve, you're going to have opposite leg straight up, doing a full single leg squat, pistol squat. Tanitra, you're going to use that opposite leg as a spot. Here we go, take it away. So notice when you're using this heel down technique as a self-spotting technique, that knee is bending, so she just has her psychological weight on that working leg, and this leg is giving her some balance and letting her self-spot, bring yourself up or lowering yourself down under control. Steve can work through full range of motion. Let's switch it up real quick. Give me a couple of reps on the other side. When you switch legs, reset, make sure everything's locked in. Take it away. Just use as much of the strap as you need. There's nothing wrong with keeping tension on it the whole time. Give you a little bit of reflexive stability in that posterior chain. So the last one we're going to do is overhead squat. So Steve, I'm going to take you back down a level because Tanitra's just showing you up all day. So I want you to go to our regular overhead squat. So let's put foot cradles around the hand. Good. So you'll notice that Steve's got his thumb underneath here so those foot cradles aren't slipping down. So let's find your end range here. I'm going to have you walk out to your left. Good. Just because that camera's right here, dude. We don't want to ruin this. All right, so good. So we're going to give him a little angle here. Tanitra's going to do what we call our drop squat. So everybody take themselves through this overhead squat. Tanitra's hands are going to stay in the same place in three-dimensional space. Take it away. She's dropping down underneath. Good. Feet are staying flat. Torso staying nice and tall. And if you think back to what it felt like to do that squat from the bottom up and you really had to grab into those glutes and hamstrings, at that bottom position, it's really a modified hip hinge, and you're extending as you come up. Give me 2 more reps. At that top position, that tension is on the straps because you're driving those arms back, not because you're leading into it. 1 more rep down. Hold that bottom position, deep breath in, re-engage, come up nice and strong, and relax. So bottom up squat for mobility, regular squat for patterning, single leg squat for single leg work, and the overhead squat is really a full body, hips, core, legs all working at the same time. Nice job. For the TRX lunge series, start by adjusting the suspension trainer to mid-calf length. For this, you could put it into single handle mode, but today we're just going to put one foot into both foot cradles. The TRX lunge is one of our favorite exercises. Great single leg strength, balance, coordination, core, all at the same time. Getting your clients into this position can sometimes be a little challenging. We always like to do opposite hand, opposite foot. So while you can go into single handle mode for this move, feel free to do that. We're going to do it just by taking both foot cradles and putting it on one foot. So go ahead and grab both foot cradles in that right hand. Reach behind you, put that left toe in. You're going to hop forward just so you're about 2.5, 3 feet in front of the anchor point. Nicely done here. Seriously, again, you're crowding my spot. You got to move over just a little bit. There we go. Nicely done. So now let's have you both start with hands out in front here. We're just going to have you squeeze those arms together, get that core contracted before we get started. Tanitra, perfect like that. Steve, I want you to keep that nice and fired up there. And now take arms straight up over your head. Good. The whole idea of keeping this a posterior chain exercise is not thinking that hips are dropping straight down, but as you guys drop into this right now, I want those hips hinging back so that foot stays out in front of you. Nice. And then use those hamstrings, glutes to bring yourself home. Knees together at the top. Drive knees apart as you go down. Nice. The goal is to try and get your hips at least as low as your knee. Nice. Give me one more rep. Really well done. One more time. Breathe. Come up nice and strong. Nice. Now to get out of this, all you can do is point your toe, bend your knee, and now let's switch it up. Let's suspend the other foot, and sometimes you'll notice that your clients may have a little bit of trouble balancing. They might look a little wobbly. When you teach it in this top-down progression, you just have them standing and drop into it. Another way to address this is doing what we call our bottom-up progression. So you got feet switched. So both of you just get to the ground any way that feels comfortable. So the right foot's in the strap, so we're going to start with success on the bottom. So that left foot's nice and flat, heel down. Let's get that left knee right on top of that left ankle. Nicely done. You're going to put some weight into those hands. Nice. So that's going to be your bottom position. Now you know what that goal feels like. So Tanitra, because you're making Steve look bad already, we're going to give you the harder version here. I just want you to drive that right foot back. So now she's floating that right knee. Steve's down, jealously looking at her floating that right knee. That knee's touching the ground. Now as you come up to a standing position, you want your shoulders and hips to start to move at the same time. Knees together at the top, standing plank. And now hinge back. Hands still go to the ground. Good. Now bring yourself up. Think about really pushing those hips back, loading into that hamstring as you go back. Bring yourself up. Hold yourself at the top for a second. Steve, you're going a little more straight down. I want you to really think about driving those hips back, almost like you're going to the wall. One more rep down. Drive those hips back. Nice. Touch the ground. Come back up. Stick that top position. Great. So you'll notice in your clients, if you give them that bottom-up progression so they can balance at the bottom, they're going to lose some of that wobbly, and now they're going to feel a lot stronger in that single leg lunge position. Here's some bonus moves once you've mastered the exercise that we've gone over today and you want to take your clients' training to the next level. So the first one's going to be our TRX pendulum. Suspension trainers lengthened to mid-calf. You're going to be ground facing away. You're going to come up, hit a nice strong plank on your hands, and now you're going to get this body to move as a unit. Just start swinging it back and forth, almost like a gymnastics move. Once this looks good, you can start to add a little bit of a pike at each end. Always in control. Come down and relax. Start from the plank, start swinging the plank, add a pike. TRX pendulum. For the atomic push-up, you're going to start with straps lengthened to mid-calf length. Toes in, come up, hit a nice strong plank position. Ears, shoulders, hips, knees aligned. You're going to go down into that push-up, still that nice moving plank. Come up, knees in, knees out, and then repeat the push-up. Make sure you're hitting that plank every time. And as those knees come in, you're going to notice that tailbone goes up to the sky just a little bit, keeping constant tension on that core. Atomic push-up. Great combo move is a squat row. We can break it down as two separate movements and then let it flow into one. So Tanitra's got herself set, takes a little step in. So drop back, arms extend. Drop into the squat, looks like a hack squat. Extend the hips, arms stay straight. Finish the row, do another couple of reps. So we break it down half a row, down to the squat, come up, finish the row one more time, back, down, up, pull in. Now we're going to put the whole thing together, so you're going to drop them. Good. So now everything just combines into one. Give me a little more tempo. Good. Speed it up a little bit more. Really snap those hips, pull back, get full hip extension at the top. Nice. Squat row, great combo move. So once you've gotten good at the squat row, a progression off that will be the squat Y-fly, and we can set it up just like we did with the squat row, two separate movements and let it flow into one. So first thing you can do is find the end range of that Y-fly. Good, everything nice and tight here. Notice this time Tanitra is not in the offset foot position, so let yourself drop back out of the Y-fly. Down into the squat, extend the hips all the way, drive yourself back home. Let's do one more like that. down, hips up, come up to the Y-fly, hold that position there, give me a lot of tension here, everything's nice and tight. Now we're going to flow it all together. Drop down and up, good. You want to feel almost like you pull yourself off the ground, but feet stay grounded. That entire posterior chain is working together. Give me one more rep. Nice. Squat Y-fly. For the burpee, we're going to take the lunge that you've already worked on, add a push to it for a great full body exercise, great full body workout in itself. So we're going to take it a little bit slow. So get to the bottom of that lunge first. Kick that leg back. So now this leg is mirroring this other leg, so almost like you have toes in. Nice strong push up at the bottom. Come up, drive that leg through, and then jump right from the bottom. Boom. So let's go through a couple more reps. Stick the plank, down under control, come up, drive the knee, explode up. Just a little bit faster this time. Plank, drop, nice. TRX burpee. In addition to bonus moves to rev up the workout, we're also going to show you some bonus moves that give you some flexibility and mobility for either the front end or the back end of your workout. The first one's going to be the TRX low back stretch. TRX low back stretch is a great way to loosen up and get some mobility into that posterior chain after a good workout. So you're going to start, stand facing the anchor point, you're at mid-length. You're going to walk yourself back till your arms are about shoulder height, feet are nice and grounded, and now let those hips hinge back, head drops between the arms, and now she can just hang out there and actually get some traction across her low back into her hamstrings. And now we can start to animate the movement. She's going to straighten her right leg and then turn her shoulders to the right, trying to look underneath that arm, and do the same thing to the other side. So now that we've gotten some length into that back, we can add some rotation into those hips, and you'll see a little bit into the upper back as well. Stand up nice and tall. TRX low back stretch. For the forward lunge to hip flexor stretch, you're going to have the suspension trainer at mid-length. You're going to stand facing away from the anchor point. Tanisha's going to take a step back to get everything loaded to begin with, a little bit of activation in the core. She's going to step forward with one leg, and that same arm is going to drop behind her at that bottom. She's going to reach over top with that reaching hand and then drive herself back to that home position again. You're going to get a good integration of flexibility and some strength at those end ranges as well. You'll be able to work through that hip flexor and the upper back all at the same time. Move through the range of motion that feels most comfortable for you or your client. TRX long torso stretch is a great way to integrate flexibility and mobility throughout the body. We're going to start with the suspension trainer at mid-length, stand facing the anchor point, elbows bent right underneath the shoulders. You're going to take that right foot, step across the body, toes pointing to the left, give me a nice tall posture, good. Now let those arms extend down to that bottom position, and now break at the hips, let yourself, good, drop back, head drops between the arms. You're going to start to feel that nice stretch from that left armpit all the way down to that left hip. Now you can move around the arms a little bit or move till you start to feel that stretch work into a place that might be a little bit tighter for you. Nice. Come back, pause. And to come home, you're going to extend through the hips first, finish up with the row, and repeat on the other side. Great job. TRX long torso stretch. Congratulations. You now have the tools you need to start integrating TRX suspension training with your clients. Make sure you take the time to practice these exercises before you start putting the movements in with your clients. Let's take a couple of minutes to go over the objectives outlined in this video. You now have the tools to set up the TRX suspension trainer at the correct height, properly perform the 6 basic procedures, adjust intensity of exercises by modifying resistance and stability, perform and coach a variety of TRX upper body, lower body, and core-specific exercises and progressions. To become a TRX qualified trainer and get your exclusive invitation to join the core, take one of our live professional education courses. After participating in a TRX live education course, you'll earn continuing education credits and get the hands-on knowledge, experience, and industry best practices needed to confidently incorporate TRX training into your business. The TRX Core is an exclusive group of TRX education graduates who get access to a winning combination of content, networking opportunity, and discounts that help them achieve greater levels of success with their training. At TRX, we strive to bring you cutting-edge education, programming, and equipment offerings. To find out more, visit us at trxtraining.com.